I came to New Zealand from England, which is up there somewhere, just near Africa, in 1991. I was 15. Curly hair and gappy teeth and big bum. When I was 18, I was doing photography at Unitec, and I had a friend who was doing stuff at BFM, a graveyard shift, and we thought that was so cool. And so I said, "Oh, can we come up and press some buttons?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." And he let me announce a song. I just remember it was the most exciting moment of my life. And so okay, you just say, "Here we have the Indigo Girls," or something really naff like that. And I was like, "Come next to the Indigo Girls. It's 10:15. Listen to BFM." And I was just so excited, and I think that triggered it. So about 18, I thought, man, I've got to be part of this. I've got to get on radio. It's so fun. I love it. And I just applied to be a volunteer, and wrote a list of music that I play. And I think I had the most ridiculous things like Bros, Wham, Michael Jackson, and the program director at the time, Graham Hill, went through and went, no, maybe, yeah. No, but you seem interesting, so all right, we'll put you on. And so that's where it started, really. I remember the audition just being quite insane. Like, I had to sit with Dominic Bowden, who I thought was so handsome, and talk about stuff like, what you'd done on the weekend. And luckily, thanks to my radio background, I was really good at talking about nothing and everything really fast, plucking little ideas and running with them. And I told a story about going to a nightclub and finding that all the couches were covered in plastic, and I inquired about why they were covered in plastic, and they said it's because somebody did a poo on one of the couches when they were really wasted. And that really, I just thought, that is so gross, but that's quite interesting. So I used that, and somehow they thought, oh, this girl's interesting, I quite like her, and so I got the job. Dominic and I did it for 2 years, and then Dom left, and Hugh Sunday came on board. And then I stopped that because my dad died, and I just needed a break from all media. I just couldn't be a shiny, happy person. And then I got a call from Andrew Schusterman, who's now at TV3, and he said, "Oh, I think I might have a job for you. Do you want to do the news on James Coleman's breakfast show?" I was like, "Oh yeah, all right." He goes, "We'll pay you 25 pence a week." I went, "Yeah, sounds good."
So you got the bare end of the deal there.
Yeah. It's so exhilarating, and to know that it's like radio, that once you've done it, it's gone, it's out there. That's one of the frustrating things I think about pre-recorded interviews or TVs. You just got to keep going over things till it's perfect. I like the throwaway aspect of live TV. But again, that was a thrifty production. You do all your own research, you do all your own prep. You got to really, and just the amount of hours that we spent in that little studio. So a lot of time is staring at this tiny little camera in a tiny little white room. It was good fun though. I loved working with Clazza.
Clazza is... Clark
Gayford, yep. We had really good natural rapport, I think, on screen. We had this really good dynamic where, almost like a comedy duo, he sets me up, puts me down, and I, rebut his advances, all this kind of thing. I thought worked really well. It's really magical actually when you have a co-host that on screen you've got this great dynamic. Dominic and I had a really strange dynamic. Hugh and I had a good dynamic, but not quite as strong as me and Clark, I don't think. So yeah, it's really good when you get that natural magic.
Unfortunately, the first name was Clark though, and I wonder if that kind of...
Yes, that was actually, yes, good point. Yeah, people would run our name together, Jaquie and Clark, Jaquie and Clark, Jaquie and Clark. So I became Jaquie Clark, who of course is the wonderful performer that already exists in the history of New Zealand entertainment. I still get called Jaquie Clark now. You think that's hilarious? It's not that funny. Honestly, I get mail addressed to me, Jaquie Clark, care of the Jaquie Brown Diaries. How does that happen in someone's brain? Why? And she gets stuff happens to her as well, which is why we wrote that in, or why Gerard wrote that into Series 1. And she was a great sport about it. I really beat her up in that episode. I can hear my phone ringing. They'll just have to wait.
You beat the Jaquie Clark.
Sure, yeah. It was really good to be doing something kind of grown up, away from youth TV. And I loved working on a project with John Campbell. I thought that was really great. We'd go away, I'd be working a week on C4 and I'd go away every other weekend to a small town and explore the nightlife and record it, and then it would be made up into like 2 minutes of TV. It was great experience. And then John and Carol thought, they're starting Campbell Live and they wanted a young reporter to do, I guess, stuff, be the zeitgeist. Although I wasn't really, I don't really think I had my finger on the pulse that much, but I faked it, no. So many experiences I've had, I've gone, oh, so cringy. And then when you turn it up a little bit, you can see there is comic value in it. Like in series 1 we had me with the gynecologist looking up my schnauzer hole, going, don't I recognise you from somewhere? That actually happened, couldn't you believe it? It was like a really traumatic experience for me, having a blooming thing going on in there, which is not nice at the best of times. And then this wizard man he's wearing glasses with extra glasses on the end. Don't I recognise you from somewhere? I'm like, which part of me? And then he goes, oh, my sons, they love you. You wait till I tell them who I've seen today. And I could not believe it. I was just so mortified. Anyway, so Gerard, my career husband, I've got a real husband and I've got my career husband. We spend the same amount of time together as my real husband and him. And so I tell him stuff that happens and he just thinks it's so funny and so spins it around. Shall I stop talking while the phone rings? No. We're at Bunker where we edit. He's in the other room editing the show. I basically live here at the moment. Surrounded by boys. I'm the only girl. They get so excited when I walk in the room. They're like, I can smell estrogen. I remember being really overwhelmed on the first day of shooting and finding all these people that were there just for this idea that we'd had. I mean, obviously, it's a job for them and it's not such a big deal, but for me it was a really big deal to turn up and there'd be a whole big crew and there'd be catering and all this kind of stuff. But that makes it sound very glamorous. It's not, It's hard. It's really hard. I mean, the hours you do are long, and because I was in every scene, there's not much of a break for me. And yeah, financially I think it is a struggle because the show is so ambitious. We really relied on a lot of favours from people. We relied on them knowing who I was and kind of maybe liking me a little bit and to trusting us to give us, say, a car to use or, product or whatever. But I think there is a disconnect between the idea, especially out there, of what it is to make a TV show and what it is to make a TV show. It seems more glamorous than it is, but it isn't. Every scene that you see will be shot from different angles, and every time you do it, you've got to do it at least 7 or 8 times to get that take right. And then you're going for a close, and then you do it again 7 or 8 times, and then you do a wide, you do that a couple of times. So by the time you've looked at each scene, and I mean everybody that works in film knows that this is what it is, but for me it was a real shock. So by the end of every scene, I'm just a shell, I'm a husk of a human. I'm just like, my main goal is to have a sauna in my house. No, oh, it is actually. No, I would love the opportunity to widen my career, whether that's doing something overseas or broadening out the company, or I don't know, just something more in comedy and more with my funny little face. Jaquie.